Alright, hello and welcome to Fight for Blight, Session 23. The path is set forth. And of course, since we had last week off, we have a little bit of catching up to do with each of the players. Let's start this week with Vieric. How's your couple weeks?
Hey everyone, welcome back to Fight for Blight. My couple weeks were great. Thanks for asking, DM.
You're welcome. Just Stalin.
Why did Lyric sound so fake just now? I thought it was another commercial.
I thought it was too. It caught me off guard.
Yeah, it was cool. I think I told you guys I was going down to Savannah, Georgia for training. So those were some long days from like 8 o'clock in the morning to 4 o'clock in the afternoon of training. But afterwards, I got to do a bit of sightseeing since it's like a historical town. So it
8 to
was
4,
pretty
that's a
cool.
normal day.
Not when you have to sit and listen to somebody lecture the whole time. It's a little bit
That
different.
shit sucks.
Yes, exactly. But it was a good little trip though. Made it fun.
That's
Got
good.
to
At
go
least
to
you got
the
out early enough to go check out a few things.
right, hit some restaurants and things. So
Savannah got some good food.
yeah, it was pretty good. More display than taste, but I'm not gonna go into that right now. I'm picky. Good
It's
stuff.
been a few years, so I don't know, like, as of recent, but maybe almost like 10 years ago.
Right.
Ant. Adashi, since you're actually here at the beginning of the session, it's been a few sessions, not too many, since you've been having to pop in a bit late, but how's your couple weeks?
That's pretty good. I am unemployed right now. I quit my job. I have 2 weeks off till the next one, so kind of fun. So I got some books I want to read.
Vacation time.
Might teach myself some Excel tricks, like a good accountant, and play some video games. So yeah, fun stuff.
I'll have to send you some PMs and see I'll share some of the files that I've made. But I'll talk more to you about that at a different time. Crix, how's your couple weeks?
Oh, cool.
I had a good couple weeks. Nothing too exciting happened, but you know, that's not always a bad thing.
No, I mean, I guess sometimes exciting can be good, but sometimes it can be bad, so, you know, at least
Just been a chill couple of weeks.
And Mevara, how is your couple weeks?
Yeah, pretty good couple weeks. Saw Vieric in person last week. Was that last week? And then right now I'm in Fort Lauderdale because my nephew's like changing daycares, and my sister and my sister-in-law both work from home, and I work from home, so I came down to like sort of help them out. So the three of us have just been like taking turns, but it's been really nice.
I appreciate you reminding me, because I forgot to make a note of it before, but I will jot this down, that Vieric came down and didn't let me know that he was in town.
He would never do that. I don't know what you're talking about. I've never seen Mayvara in my life.
Cryptilly, you have anything to say about that? How's your couple weeks, buddy?
That was good. It was pretty good. We had a pretty good couple of weeks. Yeah. Last night, I found out I might have a fight coming up next month. Surprise.
Nice. Better start just doing all like the stuff you normally do now. But do me a favor and fix your mic just a little bit. You're a little low. And then every time you fix the mic, if I turn you up, it basically makes my ears bleed. So I'll just ask you to fix it. The only thing I do kind of, I guess, not so much reluctantly, maybe that's the wrong word, I maybe hesitant to offer is the recap for experience, because you guys usually smash it out of the park when giving an overview of what our last session entailed. I'm hoping with the last week off, some details may or may not have been forgotten. But which of you would like to take the lead on this? I vote that it should be Adachi, since Adachi has pretty much gotten out of it doing it for the past few sessions.
I might be able to do it. I mean, so we started still in the fog, if I remember. Adachi was like almost TPK the party, if I remember correctly. Really like MVP of the evil siblings.
The
But
character
Crix
I
took him
thought was
down.
going to be a pawn became the queen quickly in this chess match.
Yeah.
I was like, damn, Adashi's going to go down quick. I got low ass hit points.
Got that AC though. So Crix and May kind of subdued everyone. They took everyone out of the fog and headed back toward Exarch's stronghold. As they were leaving, they heard some footprints, as if there were like some soldiers or someone coming. But we hightailed it out there before they really saw anything. And then later down the road, we saw Lady Faye running away. And May and Crix talked to her. She said that basically the fog took over Exarch and his troops, and that's who was in the fog. They also hit the city up north, which I forget what the name of that is. So, and the fog was kind of coming toward us. She was able to heal everyone with some kind of high-level magic. And then we went down to Blight, basically to warn. We evacuated Exarch Stronghold. We went back to Blight, and basically told everyone what's going on. And then we decided we were going to leave, and I think our dad's to staying put. Let me know what I forgot.
I think that was great, but one detail that I think is important was that Lady Faye was able to heal people from the effects of the fog, but like we wouldn't necessarily be able to do that, and we wouldn't necessarily be able to do that to as many people at the same time. So that's like something good to remember.
Yeah, I can't recall, but I think she actually said that we shouldn't be affected by the fog again, but she wasn't 100% sure.
I don't remember that.
Yeah, but I mean, once the fog vaccine rolls out, I'll be the first in line.
Until a tougher strain comes out.
It was
Until the Delta fog's there.
what I will say for Creptilli's statement, it was slightly like maybe insinuated, but like the majority of the thing is like everything was an assumption. Lady Faye only had I guess hypotheses and theories.
Okay.
See, for some reason I had the feeling that she was implying that if we fell under the effects again, it may be harder or impossible to bring us out. But I could also be wrong about that. It's been 2 weeks. And everything's up in the air.
Oh,
Correct.
and then I think too, like, our father sort of like sent us away. We didn't really like it. Wasn't we didn't want the king and whatever to stay in Blight, but it is what it is.
Andy refused to evacuate Blight himself because we had suggested that he leave.
So the stakes are pretty high.
Also had
Yeah, I
Exarch
think
Stronghold evacuate as well.
Yeah, I think he specifically sent us to go to the other tombs because we needed more power to take out the fog.
Well, he
think.
was hoping we might find something that could help us with this, because as far as he would tell us, he didn't really know what was going on either, but he's known to keep secrets from us.
I mean, yeah, it's not like we found an artifact called like the Cleansing Breeze or anything. You would think that would help
Yeah,
with
well,
evil
it
fog.
doesn't do this
but-
job, though.
Yeah.
If only it had Gust.
Yeah.
But yeah, we did so he did send us to the rest of the tombs, and we decided to hit the closest one first, which is Dire Frost.
Also, I think we had estimated the time before the fog and the army would get to Blight would be somewhere around a week or so. And that our trip, if we had to hit all of the tombs, would take us about a month in the route that we were planning on. So we were hoping that the first tomb we checked might give us a solution so we could head back and get there around the time the fog gets there. Things are pretty dire at the moment.
Well, that was wonderful. Is there anything else? Because there are a couple of other things that were um, mainly exchanged between you and your father.
The royal you or somebody in like particular?
Oh, like each of you had explained a couple of extra things, not just dealing with the green fog, but also some just extra findings along the way. Alright, well, those little bits of details are, I guess, negligible. We can easily just sum it up with information exchanged. But we'll continue our story tonight with this. Continuing on May 16th, May 6th, year 1101, as the royal siblings continued their travels southwest. It's a nice clear morning, the sun just barely making its way past the above the eastern horizon. Each of you take a look back, seeing Blight with this beautiful golden hue about it. It's a calming sight for each of you, especially with so much on each of your minds. Traveling along to the southwest with your mushies, each of you feel this is the last time you may see Blight for at least a month's time, and, at worst, maybe the last time at all. However, with the sun rising bit by bit as each of you continue on, each of you know what is immediately ahead. A small forest before a bit of a clearing towards the southern mountains, where each of you know the southern knolls to be encamped. But with the day fairly young, each of you have quite a bit of travel mapped out, a path laying before you, leading towards the Dire Frost area. What I will do is I'll open it up to the floor for each of you and just move you along. But if someone, one person, doesn't matter who it is, can draw me a path. I don't know if you guys are going to make a direct line or if it will be little bit of turns here and there.
Hey, Barry, which way we going, buddy?
I think Virik's trying to remember how to use the ruler.
Move you all along just a little bit. I guess to make it easier, Virik, if you'd like, you can let me know if you're gonna make like a pit stop anywhere, or if you are just gonna make a straight line. Or if you all would like to discuss it with the wind giving little bits of howls here and there while each of you ride along, feel free.
What you guys think? Probably a straight shot.
My personal choice would be trying to go straight for the location of the tomb. But there are merits to going to Dire Frost first.
It might be worth warning them about what's happening. If you see a fog, run. GTFO.
Yeah, I think we should make our way to the tomb as fast as possible.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. Maybe we can get to the tomb, hopefully find some answers. If not, warn the people of Dire Frost.
I just thought of something that we might not have considered completely when we were thinking about the fog and how it's moving. Because we kind of just assumed that it was heading along the path down towards X-Arts and then would hit Blight. But what if it's actively targeting us?
I thought Lady Faith said something similar. I know we're super affected by it, we're vulnerable, but I thought she also said it was targeting us. So that's a good point.
Staying away from civilization might protect more people. Like, if we get lucky, us leaving Blight might spare Blight. But that's just an assumption.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was like we kind of narrowed it down to either us or like our father and like the king or like, you know, the Blight family. So like
Yeah.
either it's like honing to us or it's going to go to Blight first, and then if it's done in Blight, then it'll come to us.
Yeah, if command is wipe out royal family, and it just goes to closest royal family member. Sorry, Dad. But I don't know, maybe. We'll see.
Can the sword not tell us if it's moving this way?
Not that you're aware of.
Is the
Yeah,
fog
the
weather?
yeah, yeah.
I can't answer that, Crix.
I thought it had something to do with the weather, but eh.
Use the cleansing wind to disperse it.
Shit got cleansing wind. What?
If only.
Do I have to ask the damn sword directly?
For
About the fog? Like, is it moving this way? Because I know it just tells us about like the weather, and we were well, it was supposed to tell us every day.
yeah, I mean that's how you seem to be. I mean, communicating with it, if you will. But when you seem to just like focus, trying to see what the weather will be, it does seem to portray that information.
Okay, so I can focus on that green fog and see if the sword says anything about it.
Sure.
All right, I'm gonna give that a shot then, real quick.
You want to do it while you're on the sleds, or you want to wait till stopping?
I'm driving, right?
Mm-hmm. That's why it'd be even funnier if you did it now.
It would. I agree. That would be hilarious. But I'm gonna wait until we stop, just for
Okay.
my siblings' sake.
And I will say that most of this can be concluded as like bits of in-game conversation as well, depending on which parts you want to portray, because I feel like some of them were just questions. Questions to me.
What time of day is it again?
At this point in the day, it's about midday. The sun just at like the peak. It, I mean, besides the wind being caused from the travel, it just seems to be a fairly calm day. The sun shining bright. There's no clouds, and if there are, very, very scattered about. once you can see a couple here and there.
So I'm gonna get a message over to May and tell her to stop her sled because I have an idea.
Are
Just
you
haul her
like,
over.
yeah, I was like, do you have telepathy? What do you mean?
I I thought we did, but that's not a thing, right, DM?
No.
No.
Oh,
It was
okay.
something that you guys had talked about, like, as a backstory, but there's actual things for that. So.
Damn it. All right. So I'm gonna yell over and say, May, stop your sled.
I stopped my sled. For a second, it's just because we just leveled up, so I was like, oh, is this a new spell? That's why I was asking. I
Uh,
stopped the sled.
I'm gonna get off mine and look around, and I'm gonna say, since the sword tells us everything about weather, I figure I should ask it about whether the fog is coming this way or not. Any objections? Ideas?
Well, get on with it.
Okay, so I'm gonna stop and concentrate on the fog and lift the sword in the air and see if I can get anything.
You roll me a wisdom saving throw, please. Nothing happens.
Well, guys, looks like that wasn't the brightest idea. So back on the road we go.
Could Adachi roll like a Arcana check to see if that's even something that would make sense?
You can give me an intelligence check at advantage.
I guess just take the bottom one.
Could be. You did look it over, and you're pretty familiar with what it does, but perhaps you didn't catch everything.
Adachi will just think to himself and say, but he won't say anything.
So do you guys want me to try again possibly, or we want to hit the road?
What are you trying to
Um,
do exactly?
I'm trying to see if the sword will tell us if the fog is coming this way.
I was wondering what that sword actually did. What all does it do?
We don't know quite yet. That's why I thought I may be able to ask about the fog.
Well, maybe this is a conversation that can be had on the sled. Cryptilli, you can ride with Varric, so y'all can keep talking.
You all can communicate while going along on the sled. It just, I mean, for ear's sake, of course, just having to shout like in game, but we don't have to do that on the microphones.
All right, so off we go.
Whee! Yeah, but didn't you and Adachi have a conversation about what the sword did?
I think I do recall having a few words with him, but what was it that he said though?
Adashi's like yelling from the other sled, but you can't hear him.
Anybody else want to try to figure that out? Or we could stop again and waste time.
I think he's not driving, so he's just holding on to May's sled. Is that right?
That is correct.
Adachi is going to cast a message to Virik, and I will type the message in the chat. So a tattoo is going to appear on your arm, Virik, saying this.
Don't text and drive, Adachi.
Adashi's not
Yeah.
driving, it's very.
Yeah.
What's the message? Just say it.
Oh, I guess I was going to type it in chat, but
I mean, the only person that would see it would be Virik.
yeah. And then the second message will say you can cast Dancing Lights, Druidcraft, or Minor Illusion from the weapon. And now that you're 5th level, you should be able to also cast True Strike.
As a bonus action.
Mm-hmm. You also have the Fey Ancestry trait, meaning you're immune to disease.
So, Creep Tilly, there's nothing that could help us in this situation that I can think of.
Well, it sounds like this fog isn't actually weather. So which we suspected that it wasn't a natural phenomenon.
So back to the drawing board we go.
Can we minor illusion an opposing fog?
You don't see any fog.
Is that a me question or a DM question?
It was a dumb question, but
I was gonna say, to what end?
just to change the color of it, maybe.
Creep Tilly, shut up.
No, I would prefer an orange death fog. It's much more pleasing to the eye than green.
This sounds way scarier, actually.
Yeah, it definitely sounds like death now. Green is just so calming, like trees.
Well, at this point, as it reaches near the end of the day, the sun beginning to make its way down, each of you know it to be about the time to set camp. Just outside the tree lines, each of you can find a little bit of shelter with some of the trees to help block a little bit of the wind, and use some of the snow dunes to give just that added layer of protection. But while each of you are setting up camp, can each of you give me a perception check? Crix and Creptilli. Each of you hear the chains and little bits of rope batting against one another. The alpha dog from both the sleds is seems to be kind of pacing back and forth while the others are trying to get some rest. It seems a bit uneasy.
Can I do another perception check to see if I can determine what's agitating them?
Yep, same.
If you'd like to include that 23, I'll give you some extra information.
I would love that.
You're unsure of what's causing it. Just so you feel that you're quite unsure, I should say.
Yep. So I'll approach the alpha dog. Let's see, the dark one, and I'll just try to pet it a little to see what's going on and see if he comes down any.
I'll try and do the same with the other dog just to see if we can calm them down or if they're really nettled.
Yeah.
Can each of you give me an animal handling check?
I'm getting bit.
Cryptilly, you get the dark-colored one to calm down a bit, and it just doesn't pace, but sits and gives like a bit of a whimper. But Crix, the multicolored one seems to be giving a bit more of a commotion. It gives like a few snaps at you, but with it being chained up, it is definitely restricted in a bit of its movement. It definitely does not seem happy in the current situation.
May, your dog's going nuts.
I wander over and try to figure out what's up with the dog.
You can give me a animal handling check at advantage. Well, being still unsure of what has caused the issue with the pup, you are able to give it a bit of a calming. It seems to almost be acting poorly, if you will, perhaps for attention or food.
I give the dog, once it calms down, just like a bit of my rations.
Finally calms down to just like a little bit of a whimper, but eats the food.
I'm not sure what was bothering it. We should stay super alert.
Yeah, I'll keep an eye out towards the sky for the green cloud and the possible dragon, most likely dragon. Since I think Dire Frost is like the edge of his hunting ground.
All right. So after camp is set up, about an hour passes, and all the dogs seem to simmer down quite a bit at this point, and a few of them just kind of snuggle up near each other and kind of bury their heads within one another, giving themselves a little bit of extra warmth as they snuggle up for the night. With each of you leveling up, is there any change to the watch order as we get into the night of May 6th?
I think we keep it the same.
I see no reason to change on my end.
Yeah, same here.
Crix prefers second watch.
Okay, so can I get a perception check from Adashi and Vieric?
Big money.
just say big money?
Yeah.
No wins. No wins.
Vieric, being a bit more alert and also a bit more worrisome with your potential future, as you stated. This could be the last time that you've seen your father, or you see your father, and for all you know, within a couple of weeks, you may be the king of Blight and the ruler of Zidane. You're at a high alert. Adashi, being the curious nature that you are, being a bit more lost in thought, you're probably pondering over a few ideas of what may lay ahead, possibly if there's things that you've missed with the sword, and perhaps this being the last time you see some of your siblings alive, if making your way to an area where you last know there to be a dragon sighting. But Vieric, you're quite certain that everything is calm. The dogs seem to be quite still. Kitty and Nyx both sound asleep. You can see their ears twitching here and there. Even with their eyes closed, they seem to still be at alert. Progressing into the second watch, I have Crix and Creptilli. Can I get a perception check from both of you, please? With being a bit late in the night, and with the weather fairly calm, bits of wind pick up here and there, and each of you notice, still off past the mountains, even through the valley, you see the purplish hue well off to the northwest. With it being so dark at this point, it is quite peaceful. Almost looks like an aurora just stretching out across the sky. And then last watch, I have May and Just Stalin. Each of you are quite certain that it is remaining peaceful until the morning hours. So, just as a reminder, I don't think that there is, but with the short rest being completed, if you do need to roll any hit dice, things of that nature, feel free. And then with that, I am going to need an animal handling check from each of you after getting the camp put away, everything loaded back up to the sleds, and beginning your day.
That was surprising.
Well, while May, Creptilli, and Crix are more in a working state of mind, making sure everything is fastened up with the dogs, loaded up onto the sleds, Just Stalin, you're the first to notice, and then quickly by Adashi, then Virik. Each of the dogs, not even just the alphas, but all of them seem to be in quite a different mood this morning. They all seem to be quite riled up.
I wonder what's got these guys like this.
Maybe they remembered their buddies, but they made new friends and were going in that direction.
You think they would have picked up their scent from this far away?
I'm sure they would have like had some knowledge of like where those guys were since they were like pretty close.
I can send Little May out just to see if there's any signs of any danger in the area.
Great idea, Dashi. Make it happen.
Dashi
never a
blushes,
bad
and
idea.
then he's been a little careful with Little May because the dragon almost eating her around his parts, but he will send her out and have her try to be super stealthy. So DM, just let me know what I need.
Well, if you're trying to be as stealthful as possible, please roll me a stealth check, and then once scouting, give me a perception check at advantage.
Thank you. So, roll 20. Stealth check. Sorry, so 14. That is +3, I believe. And they get +3 stealth, so a 20 on the stealth and 15%.
With Little May taken off, flap swings and not a sound is heard. Only the light release of the talons, as she leaves the perch from your shoulder, flies off, and from Little May's communicative hoots, it seems that everything is all clear.
So yeah, I guess Adachi would just report back and say she didn't see anything. Not sure why the dogs would be upset. She's a pretty good gal, so maybe they smell something, like Cryptili was saying.
Perhaps, but this is definitely disturbing.
That could be the case. We could let them lead us instead of trying to direct them.
So what's the call moving forward?
I say we let them lead the way. Any objections?
I'm more for just trying to either basically get away from where we are and keep heading directly towards where we're trying to go. We're faster than most things out here, so if we just keep moving, we should be fine.
Yeah, I agree with Crix. The faster we get to the tomb, the better.
Time is of the essence.
Well, off we go then.
I'm here for whatever you want to do, brother.
Alright, onwards to the tomb we go.
Okay, so just for clarification, since each of you know riding the sleds through the trees is a bit difficult, each of you know you'd have to go a little bit slower of a pace, going, I guess, in like a direct path, but if you were going to use the sleds at the full speed, I'm assuming the best path for each of you would be just down the tree line and then up the road. But I want your clarification for certainty.
Down the tree line and up the road sounds good to me.
As long as that snow's nice and plush.
Yeah, that works. Let's do that.
Okay. Well, as each of you begin to head a little bit more towards the south direction, as each of you progress bit by bit, the dogs each seem to slowly move back into that working phase. They seem less distracted by whatever was ahead and more focused on the task at hand. At this point, each of you find yourselves in somewhat of a familiar area, being quite close to Nuvian's tomb, and to the south, Genesis not too far away. Each of you have about a half day, a little bit more of time worth of travel, if still moving along the tree lines. Get roughly to about here.
Should we stop and set up camp for the night, or how are you feeling?
Yes, let's. I'll take a hunt as well. I won't go far.
I'll start making up a fire as usual.
I'm on tent duty.
And I'll tend to the dogs.
Hey, May, can you give me a survival check at advantage, please? And can you give me a dexterity saving throw?
Oh, what?
No.
Nice. So May, as you go about your hunt, you're making your way through a little bit of the tree lines just to the north side of the camp. And as you do, you find there to be like this odd snow mound. It seems quite out of place with the amount of tree cover that there is. It just is almost seems forced for it to be there, almost unnatural, if you will. But making your way up to it, you will see Kitty get real low, or Nyx get real low, and then run straight towards the snow pile and jump in.
I whip out my short swords.
I'm gonna say handy dandy notebook.
As you move forward in a sudden haste, drawing your weapons, you hear Nyx just like almost it sounds as if tearing the flesh away, but like it's cracking as well. Moving a bit closer, you'll notice this to be a fairly large moose, but it is quite dismembered.
So I, say to Nyx down and pull her back so I can like dust some of the snow off and investigate. It's frozen. It's a frozen moose carcass.
Correct. It seems to be like almost mangled. The legs chopped off, bits of the antlers broken away. Pieces of meat seem to be carved away from it. This wasn't the work of a large beast, but it was, well, mangled, to say the least.
I wonder if that was the hunting creep.
It's kind of hard to hear you, Creep.
Cryptilli's scared of the mic tonight.
Okay, so then making sure it looks good, I like hack off, I don't know, like a leg or like a femur or something, and give it to Nyx and try to get another piece. Get some bones. I try to get some bones for the dogs.
Okay, I mean, like I said, it seems pretty pretty cut up already. You don't even have to hack off a couple pieces. Nick seems to be trying to tear away more from the body itself, but can easily carry one of the legs away.
Is it fresh? Like fresh enough for us to eat?
It's at least a couple days old. It's a little hard to tell because of the snow giving it some preservation.
Okay, yeah, so we'll keep it for the dogs. But I'll consider that. I'll like bring as much back as I can to feed the dogs and Kitty.
Okay, with it being cut up, you can, we'll say, carry 3 legs with Nyx carrying one of them, and then you can acquire like a few more like slabs of meat. We'll say it's equal to 25 pounds, and then two elk legs.
We found, when I get back to camp, I tell my siblings like what we found, let them know that it doesn't look like it was attacked by a large animal, but it seems to have been mangled, perhaps by many smaller ones. And then I like distribute the meat amongst the dogs.
We should definitely keep an eye out then. We'll tell them what that was.
I rolled a history check for Adachi to see if like he knows of any small creatures that would do that in the area.
Tiny hunters.
Or maybe it's like nature or something.
My first thought is gnolls. Hungry gnolls, perhaps.
Yeah, I was wondering if it would be some more down here, but I'm not sure.
You can give me a roll, Adachi, but you should already know the answer.
Oh, okay. Roll Arcana
History check.
or History?
Yeah, where are you getting Arcana out of that from? It's probably the gnolls.
Okay. Yeah, Adachi would be like, oh, yeah, definitely looks like Noel's pick.
Mostly nose.
Strange for them to leave this much meat behind.
Maybe something scared them away.
I mean, we're pretty close to Nesis, I think, so maybe they had a altercation.
Yes. Maybe they saw people and they weren't too friendly.
Well, as long as there was no dead gnolls around where the moose was, it should be fine. Or elves.
Well, if each of you are ready to progress into the night, just let me know. I don't want to skip ahead too far, just in case.
Yeah, no, I'm good for today. I think I've done everything.
Yeah, I think we can advance.
Yeah, I'm all set.
Definitely advance if y'all are game.
Yep.
So moving on to May 8th, as each of you head out, you can see bits of the road appearing and disappearing. Bit more lose. Each of you begin to lose sight of it as you progress a little bit farther away from Gnesis and get to the midpoint towards Dire Frost, with the forest giving a bit more clear way off to your north. Each of you can see where the Stokeland Mountains, the southern parts, come to an end, where there is a large valley seen up ahead, just empty area of snow lying before each of you. But as the sun is reaching its peak just near 11 o'clock in the morning, can each of you give me a perception check? May said, be right back. I don't know if she's back yet. Let's see. Okay. May's definitely got at least a plus one.
I'm back, sorry.
Okay, roll me a perception check, May. Please and thank you. Hey! It's a plus 4. I definitely underestimated it. I was like, it's at least a plus 1. May, just Stalin, and Virik, while the rest of you are having to wipe away bits of snow from your eyes in order to just even get somewhat of clear vision, Virik, just Stalin, and May, the three of you spot a what appears to be a hut buried in some snow. It's a bit closer to the road, but whatever it is it's quite obscured.
So definitely abandoned. Maybe not so definitely.
Oh, I'm not answering any questions like that, man.
Sorry, are we on the sled? What's happening?
Yes, you're on the sleds. This is amongst your travel.
Should we check out that hut? Or that's what it appears to be.
What hut?
I think we should investigate.
That snow-covered, looks like a hut.
Ah, I guess that is a hut.
Yeah, let's check it out real quick.
Okay, so going just a slight bit off course, May and Vieric directing the sleds a little bit more towards the road, making your way up this structure that appears to be buried in the snow becomes a bit more clear. You see bits of wood that are quite discolored, some a bit more beigeish while the others dark. It seems that the snow has been melting and being absorbed by parts of this wooden structure for quite a bit of time. You continue to get a bit closer.
I'm gonna say,
Uh,
wait,
can,
hold on. Adachi, can you send out your bird?
yeah, Adachi was like already like about to grab your shoulder as you said that. He was, yes, I was thinking the same thing. We can't be too careful these days. So he's going to send little May to go kind of look at the hut and listen, and he's just gonna kind of look through little May's senses the whole time.
So as you're looking through Little May's senses, with Little May getting closer, it is quite easily realized that this actually isn't a hut. Off from a distance, giving it a bit more of a difficult time to exactly make out what it is, Little May being much closer. Little May will notice, with, of course, you looking through her eyes, that this is actually an overturned wagon. It's still being quite buried in the snow. You see where there are ropes broken off, about 5 feet, still dangling, some even touching the ground below, buried amongst the snow. One wheel is noticed to be missing, and it seems that it is closed, like a canopy over the top.
So it's buried in the snow, right?
Correct.
I think Adachi would just telepathically tell May to kind of do a few circles around it to see if there's any sign of movement, or like footstep, like tracks or anything that maybe looks like what caused the wagon to overturn.
Taking a look around, it's quite certain nothing's there.
Looks like it's been knocked over for quite some time.
Yeah, Adachi would have Little May come back and he'd report that to the group. It's actually not a hut at all. It looks like a overturned wagon, a covered wagon. Doesn't seem that there's anything moving there, so should be free to investigate.
Yes, I think we should investigate and see if we can find any clues or anything worth using.
Agreed.
Alright, so whoever's gonna go investigate the wagon, give me an investigation check, please. Tilly, Crix, unfortunately, neither of you come across anything of note. You actually find a hut. That's a good one. Vieric, you're able to find a small lockbox. But Shostalin, perhaps you find the more interesting of things. You discover buried in some of the snow quite shallowly, there are 4 high elves, quite blue in complexion, They have a couple of wounds about their chest. However, whether it was the wounds or the temperature, they are definitely dead, and they have been for a little bit of time.
Well, damn. These guys didn't go out peacefully.
She begins covering him with dirt. Heal. Just kidding. He doesn't do that. He's not that dumb.
If I can
I
get into
wasn't gonna
this lock,
question it.
if I can get into this box, maybe we can figure out who they were or what they were going to do.
I would like to check their pockets too to see if they had any kind of note or, some kind of orders.
Yeah. Could Adachi like check out their faces and maybe what they're wearing? You know, if there's any kind of marking that would maybe identify them.
Each of you will be quite easily familiar, I should say, with their symbols that they have upon their clothing. You'll note that there is a symbol of a tankard, the banner for Genesis, and then also the stag for Blight.
Some moonshine runners.
Indeed. But just Stalin, digging around, seeing if they have any orders or anything of that, you don't find anything, but you do find a key. One of the more well-decorated individuals, you can see a couple of bars and extra sigils, some of his armor encrusted with gems, giving himself a bit more variety, is carrying a small key in their pocket.
There seems to be a key here. Virik, is that lockbox locked?
Nothing's ever locked. I'm kidding. Let me get that key.
Yeah, I was trying to save the effort. Here, just in case.
So I'm gonna attempt to open the box with the key, not knowing if the key fits or not, but I'm gonna try it.
It does, and when you turn the key, you hear a bit of a clunk.
No, let's see what's inside.
Do you open it?
Yeah.
Okay. As you open it, you see that there is this very well-made purple silk pillow, and embroidered upon it is a white stag. It has these nice little mounds that seem to hold something towards the center. But other than this pillow, it is empty.
Just seems to be a pillow. Adachi, you want to give it a look?
Sure, Lord. Brother Virik. Yeah. So he'll take the pillow and maybe, I guess he'd start by detecting magic for about 10 minutes and then attempting to identify another 10.
Okay. What about the rest of you?
Would it make more sense for him just to do an investigation check first, just to see if he sees
Yeah.
anything?
I think I'll actually go through and collect all the sigils off the bodies.
You can do an investigation check first there, Adachi, but okay, I got you, Cryptilli.
I'm gonna look around the area, make sure that there's no threats immediately around. while we do our little investigation.
May and just Stalin?
Just kind of stand around.
Staying vigilant.
Mm-hmm. I have my bow maybe out.
Dashi, after taking a look over this lockbox, this seems a little familiar. While most of you haven't had a direct need for such a thing, you would know this to be like a container that messages are carried in between one town and another. Crix, as you're looking around, everything is quite still. A little eerily quiet.
So Adashi would speak up and say, "Oh, this is a chest that it's used to carry messages between towns, but it looks like the message is missing." There's nothing in there, right?
Have you looked under the pillow?
Adashi will take the pillow out, shake it around.
It's a nice pillow, but the box is empty.
It seems weird to me that they would have essentially killed this group of people, taken the key off of the one, opened the box, stolen the contents, and then reclosed and locked the box and put the key back on a person. That doesn't seem like just a normal highway robbery to me. I feel like there's something we're missing.
Agreed.
That would definitely be a lot going on. Pointlessly.
This whole thing almost seems like bait in and of itself to me.
I mean, we could pretty easily just backtrack to Anesis and figure out what the message was, right?
Maybe the message is inside the pillow, or maybe it is the pillow, or it's some kind of secret message that we just don't know how to decode.
Well, maybe we should keep moving. We can figure out if there's something in the pillow or decode the message later on, but I don't feel good. We're sitting ducks here.
Just Stalin, you said that the bodies definitely had wounds to them?
My bad, I couldn't hear you.
Oh, it's pretty snowy. Windy these days. You said the bodies had wounds, as if someone or something killed them, right?
Yeah, they had wounds, or they have wounds. I just can't tell if it was the end of them, per se. I'm not sure how deep they are, but there was definitely some conflict.
Could Adashi investigate like what the wounds look like? Like what could have, like, is it an arrow or like a sword or a knoll claw?
Cryptilli could
Too hard.
probably give us some insight as well. She's more medically entailed.
Oh, true. Yeah. Cryptilli, would you mind taking a look to see what you think caused it?
Guess. And I'll go out over it, see if I can tell what might have caused their death.
Can you go ahead and give me a medicine check? You're not sure if they died instantly from these wounds or if, like as stated before, the weather took them, but these wounds are quite familiar to you. Used to seeing them when your brother and sister practice their archery and the wounds that they've dealt while hunting and other varieties. You are more than certain that these wounds are arrow wounds.
And I'll turn to my siblings and just say, it's probably some type of dragon. And I'll walk away.
Some type of dragon.
I mean, it would be a pretty tiny dragon, sister.
Yeah, you're right. Um, they were probably most likely shot with an arrow, crossbow, something like that.
And yet, are there any bolts or arrows?
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
Yeah. Would there be any like arrows or anything around, or like the heads stuck in the carcass?
Yeah, even if they pulled them out, they should be some kind of evidence.
You don't find any arrows or bolts lying around, but you will find bits of stone and iron in the wounds.
It seems they cleaned up after themselves.
Yeah, that seems suspicious. Not sure we have a lot of time for this now, but after we get some information, we should definitely figure this out.
I think we should burn this wagon, just in case it's being used as a trap to lure people in, and they just don't want to engage with us because we are several, or they're not here today, or whatever. We could potentially save some poor passerby in the future.
Yeah, let's take the lockbox with us, and perhaps the insignia of a couple of the guards. But if everybody steps back, or we can get some distance away on the sleds, and I'll light it up.
If it's all right with you all, I mean, could we bury the bodies first? Just some shallow graves? Feels wrong to just leave them out in the snow like this.
Or we could burn them as well. It seems honorable and safe.
Much faster. I prefer faster.
It is an honor to be cremated by royalty. They would feel blessed.
Gosh, he goes, oh, okay, I didn't realize. He just throws them on the wagon.
Yeah, May helps put the bodies like respectfully in the wagon, dust off as much of the snow as possible.
Anyways, that sounds like a plan. Well, it's quite easily accomplished. Still, with Crix keeping an eye out and little May flying around, each of you feel quite safe while accomplishing this goal. And getting everything a bit away in a safe distance, then with the bodies piled up with the wagon, May sets it ablaze. Nope, but that would have been epic. So, with a bit of the day eaten away with your bits of travel, and then also this bit of investigation, where is your destination? Are we going back to Genesis? to possibly find out some answers? Are we going to Dire Frost, or are we heading straight to the tomb? Well, the rough estimate of the tomb, I should say.
Tomb.
Yeah, I would say let's head to the tomb. We can figure the pillow thing out later.
Yeah, I'm all for going to the tomb. The pillow thing is low priority to Crix.
Time is of the essence.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I'll move you each to here for the end of the day. Which I believe brings us to May 9th. And we'll just move you all each along. If there's anything you all want to discuss, of course, go ahead and feel free. But at this point, can each of you give me a perception check?
I'm gonna use my inspiration to roll again. Technically better.
Good enough. Each of you, as you're making your way, bit towards more like the valleyed area, going up and down these snowy hills, the skyline of Dire Frost comes into sight, and as you're making your way down, it begins to disappear, but then rising up to one of the highest hills that seem to be in the relevant area, each of you notice there to be quite an amount of individuals making their way around the Dire Frost city walls. With each of your history in taking classes, being trained to be nobles, knights, and just having a bit of a higher education, each of you would know this amount of learning. Each of you would know this amount of movement to be quite
Irregular?
quite odd, unless under certain circumstances. But with that, we'll be right back and get back to our game in about 5 minutes.
Sounds good.
BRB, fam.
Alright, see y'all shortly.
Yeah.
So, with each of you atop this hill, seeing the frantic movement going about to the city walls of Direfrost, each of you, can see quite a bit other than that as well. The open area of the snow that lays off to your northwest. You can see the western side of the mountain from a slightly different point of view. And, of course, just the bits of the frozen ocean that lays off past Direfrost and the west coast.
Now, from this distance, what can we tell about all the people outside of Direfrost? Do they look like civilians, or guards, or military? Or are we too far to tell anything other than it's the shapes of people?
You can't pick up any detail from this distance, but you're able to see that there's quite a bit of them. From like an educated guess, this seems to be a mixture of everyone inside of Direfrost.
Okay, so they don't all have like matching colors essentially like you would assume an army has or something like that.
I just mean from the amount of numbers, you would know that this isn't like Direfrost's army or guard.
Okay.
Question about Direfrost. What's their like liquor export look like, and also like their food export? I know it said they have furs.
They probably import most of their liquor from Nisus. Because from my understanding, Nisus is like the alcohol center of our kingdom.
That is correct, but let me pull up the notes. Oops, wrong thing. Hold on. It's gonna take me just a minute. These are old notes. So, lying almost directly west of Blight, you know that the overseer of the Direfrost to be Lyra. Lyra is a beautiful woman and strong-willed, and a strong-willed ruler of her city. The city exports furs from the winter creatures that dwell in Zidane, mainly hunting in the Barra Forest and extending up to the southern parts of the Stokelint Mountains. Sending their furs out to other cities, mostly for trade and other goods. Mainly importing ales from Nisus and funds from Blight, and just bits of food and other exchanges from Belkarth seem to be their major imports and export area. Of course, each of you know this to be on the edge of Cilium's hunting range. Basically, Crix.
Nice. Onwards to Tomb.
To the dust.
And we're gonna ignore that large, odd gathering of people outside the walls.
Yeah, I say we can just like swerve so we can get a better idea of what's going on.
We could just ask one of them.
We don't necessarily need to get involved, but we could find out what their situation is.
Yeah, I'd say we talk to one of them and see what's going on and judge from there whether we want to do anything about it or not. If not, on to the tomb.
Do a drive-by, grab one, and question them at the tomb.
We question them
No,
on the sled and then just throw them off.
I was thinking stop and talk, but hey, I'm all for picking one up and then tossing them when we don't need them.
I was joking, Vieric.
I wasn't, Crix.
Uh-huh.
An exchange made me laugh.
All right, so we're gonna ride up to him and ask him some questions about what's going on.
All right, who's going?
I'll go, and I would like one more person to go with me.
I'll
I
go
thought
with
we
you.
were just kind of like pulling the sleds that way.
We are, but I mean, I guess we need people to still hop off. We don't necessarily have to hop off though. We can like ride by and talk to them while we're on the sled, just in case we need to book it.
Yeah, just roll down the window and chit-chat with them for a sec and then peel out.
Hey, you dire frost, let me holler at you for a minute.
Basically, and we got the arrows ready in case we need to do a drive by. What's up?
Okay. So, if each of you are on board, taking the sleds over, making your way mainly downhill from this point, each of you pick up quite a bit of speed, swaying back and forth, kind of just giving that bit of resistance as you kind of carve the hill. Making your way a bit closer, each of you begin to hear bits of sounds echoing out. Can each of you give me a perception check at disadvantage at this point?
Roll the one.
Shoot, sorry, remind me how to do disadvantage on the keyboard.
It's control.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's either control or shift.
Thank you.
Shift is advantage, control is disadvantage.
May, you're the only one that hears this a bit clearly, as the others hear it a bit muffled. There is a chant going out. Each of the individuals, in almost perfect unison, seem to be chanting death to family, death to Blight.
And I say, they're chanting death to Blight. And I, cry out, like, stop. And I pull back on my.
Vieric, you see May slowing down and coming to a stop.
I'm gonna slow down as well.
Okay. I think it's safe for me to ask, and most of you should find this fair. Vieric and Cryptilli seem to just do random things sometimes, so I almost feel like it's never safe to assume with them.
Yeah, I'm fighting the urge to just shoot an arrow, but hey, I'm trying to do better.
No.
I don't hear anything, so I ain't do shit.
So as each of you come to a bit of a stop, the dogs, you hear them bits of panting, but as each of you look, you each see May. May, I would think that you look a bit worried, but I'll leave that to you.
Yeah, so I tell them, well, we're closer now. Can I see, like, more clearly, like, how many people are they attacking the city? Are they just, like, walking around? Like, what's going on?
The city does seem to be in a bit of a chaotic status. As you are a bit closer, you'll notice that some of the buildings and towers seem to be a bit damaged. No one is attacking the city, but it does seem that the city was attacked.
I see. So I turn to them. I turn to my siblings and I say, they're chanting, death to the family, death to Blight. I think they've been affected by the same curse as the fog. Can you hear it?
None of our siblings spoke while they were under the fog's control. I think they might just be displeased by some other thing.
Oh, so just honest to goodness rebels then.
Yes.
Just good rebels in your
Just-
kingdom.
Just people who just actually hate us, not
It's just
not
the way
cursed.
that you said it. You're just like, oh, just
Yeah.
rebels.
Everyday malcontents.
Okay. Oh, cool. Well, I feel like we could deal with that after we go to the tomb.
Yeah, I think we should just keep it going. Because we're a little outnumbered. Not much, but, you know.
I can take them if you want me to, Varric.
Oh, I would love to. But I don't think everybody's in favor of that. So we should just go.
We could just go get our mole allies and just run ham on.
Oh yeah, that'll make them much happier if
Yeah.
the Blight family leads an army of monsters into their city to quell
Yeah.
their unrest.
Yeah, sounds good. Neither rule by fear or love.
Who you shooting with that, Creptilly?
Nobody. I was just thinking about it.
Okay, so let's get out of here. Let's go to that tomb before I change my mind.
Mush.
This is a low priority rebellion.
It's certainly lower priority than the massive sentient cloud that turns people into king-killing zombies.
Hey, maybe we'll even get lucky and they won't be rebelling in a day or two when we're done with the tomb.
And if they are, dead people can't rebel is all I'm saying.
We can't kill off all of our subjects, Varric, otherwise we have no one to rule over.
Well, we can. We just shouldn't.
You're not a king without people below you.
I wouldn't know. You're the only king here, Crix.
Well, then heed my advice. Crix will chuckle at that.
May will look horrified at that exchange.
I'm gonna look at the others and say, you heard the princess. Let's go.
Well, soon after heading out on the mushies, each of you see that the individuals fade from sight, going over the hills and continuing on towards the tomb. What I will do is move you all to this rough location, and then I will ask for a lovely perception check from each of you, please. While scanning the area, there seems to be quite an empty valley. Each of you just find emptiness. Just bits of fresh snow that laid out across the surface and continue on towards the north, the east, northeast area towards the mountains, and at this point back down towards the hilly areas before leading back into dire frost. There seems to be nothing here.
Hey Dashi, could you do me a favor?
Sure.
Could you do that magic detecting thing you have With any luck, there'll be some sort of magic involved in the entrance of this one too. That might help us find it, since it doesn't seem to be obvious.
Well, sure, I'll do my best. Adachi will spend 10 minutes to detect with the ritual. Playing his drums and
Anybody got anything else during the 10 minutes? Or just let that go?
While he's doing that, I'll keep looking around for it, trying to see if anything's like out of place where it shouldn't be, that we might see a like tomb or entrance.
I'm gonna focus my attention in the direction of Dire Frost while we're waiting. Just scanning the distance, making sure nothing's coming our way from that direction.
I'd like to stand with Crix and I say to him, what if I was like, hold on, sorry. I was like, those people in the cloud do have something in common, though.
What, that they want us dead?
Yes.
There's
I mean-
always
Yeah, but maybe it's not a coincidence. Maybe they're somehow related or connected.
They very well could be, and I'm not against going to Dire Frost, but I do feel that going into this tomb and seeing if we can find any answers here first is a higher priority.
Oh, I agree. I was just wondering. And then I pull my bow and just sort of stand watch with Griggs.
And hopefully if we give them a little time to calm down, maybe we won't have Vera kill as many of them.
Hopefully.
And Crix will chuckle at that too.
Cryptilli, can you give me an investigation check real quick, please? And thank you. Alright. And, like, taking a look around while waiting for Adachi, you don't find anything, of note. And Adachi, when your, detect magic goes off, you do not detect any magic.
I don't sense anything magical here. Maybe there's just something we're missing.
What did this area look like again?
Just a bunch of vast emptiness, just fresh snow surrounding the area.
Can I do any kind of check to see if I remember if Father gave us any indication of the name of who this tomb might be? I don't remember if he gave us any indication of that.
No, there was not. Can you, checks for searching the area like Cryptilli did? Detect magic was a good idea. The information that you know is that this is essentially the rough location. So, I guess, in hindsight, each of you would know, that each of you kind of have to find it, if you will. But with that natural 20, that's a good start. Anyone else got a roll?
I was thinking Adachi might just start firebolting the snow to see if there's something underneath the snow. Like they're trying to melt the snow away.
Yeah, and that's more than likely what gives Crix and May their indications while finding it. Bits of snow begin to melt with Adachi shooting off a few firebolts here and there. And Crix and Mayvara, each of you notice there to be quite a big indentation. The snow seems to be falling down beneath the surface. It does seem that the tomb is underground. Who would have thought? Crazy. It's almost like where you bury people.
So very, very carefully, May starts swiping snow away.
Now, this indentation or hole in the ground, what are kind of the dimensions of it? Is it like a shaft, or is it like not like a stairway, but kind of like a slope that leads under the ground that's buried in snow?
Looks to be kind of like a concave area, roughly about 10 to 15 foot in a radius.
Okay, in that case, May uses firebolt to sort of like melt as much of the snow as possible to try to reveal that like indentation.
Adachi will.
With May and Adachi whittling away at it, eventually the snow falls and reveal with a 5-foot hole, revealing quite emptiness of darkness. You see just this plume of dust as it comes up from the hole with the snow hitting the surface below. Each of you hear an escaping wind, almost as if the ground itself is breathing.
Well, looks like we found the entrance.
Does this entrance look natural, or does it look like it's been worked?
Taking a closer examination upon it, it does not seem to be natural at all.
Okay, I just wanted to be sure we hadn't found like a bear den or something.
Like looking down, you get the idea that this is not the entrance, but like your typical entrance, if you will, but I guess a way to drop in. Looking in, it seems to be about 20, maybe 25 foot of a drop, and leads into an empty room.
I'm going to light my torch and drop it down the hole to try and illuminate the room.
Okay. Lighting the torch, and then dropping it down. As it does, you'll see bits of the embers kind of just scatter away from it as it falls, hits the ground. And with the flickering light, you're able to see little bits of shadows. It looks that there are pillars in the room. But, I mean, that's like your best guess.
Adachi, can you send little May down to have a look?
Yeah, sure. So kind of pat little May on the head and just be like, be brave. And send her down to check out. And he'll kind of spin he'll look through her eyes to see what she sees in that first room.
Okay, go ahead and give me a perception check at advantage.
That's 21. Perception, I think.
So, as little May surveys the area, there are indeed 4 columns. Each seem to almost be directly in the corner of the rooms. There is little bits of ice where your little May can see light deflecting off of it, that line the walls, kind of giving off bits of shadows. With that roll, you are also able to pick up that there seems to be things, depictions, engravings, hidden behind the ice, and they're. Let me double check. Yeah, that's it. I just wanted to make sure I didn't miss anything.
The engravings are on the columns?
On the wall behind ice.
So Adachi will just kind of be saying, as he's looking through everything that Little May saw. He'll just kind of be saying, four columns in the room. I don't see anything else other than it looks like there's the walls are covered in ice, but there might be some kind of engraving or marking on the wall. If we could clear the ice, we might be able to tell more.
What I'm more concerned with than, or I'm more concerned with how to get out of there rather than how to get down there safely. We should perhaps leave something anchored up here so we can escape quickly.
Creep Tilly, can you tie a rope and get us down there?
I'll start tying some ropes off, but I'm gonna need someone to anchor it.
Well, we could just use some of the stakes from the tents to stake it into the ground.
Let's do it. I have plenty of rope, and I use my 50-foot rope length.
Yeah, I'd like to set up a second rope in case one of the ropes fails when we're trying to get back up. We have a backup.
Okay, sounds like a plan. I was just about to ask what you all are using before I asked for the check. But with the stakes from the tents and then having a backup rope and all that, can Crick, since you're setting it up, can you give me a survival check at advantage, please? Okay, thank you. They seem, fairly secure. The only way that this could get fucked up as far as you're concerned is if Creptilli messed with it.
Well, we'll just have to make sure she goes down first.
As long as she's not the last one, or the first one up, I think would be one of the main concerns. At least for Vieric.
Yeah, I was gonna volunteer her to go first because of that whole misfortune.
And you said it was about 25 feet down?
That's what it appears to be, yeah.
Okay. It's a little too far for Shadow Swap. Damn.
Okay, we should go quickly and be ready for anything once we get down there.
Agreed. Creep Tilly, you're up.
I'll be right behind you, sis.
Sure. And don't forget to keep those pittance top. And I'll start to rappel down.
Okay. Then followed by Crix.
Yeah, once she's about halfway down, I'll start using the other rope to follow behind.
Okay.
I'll use the first rope and go after Crix.
I'll use the second. I guess we're alternating and whatnot.
Yeah, I'll follow Vieric down.
Yeah, I'll take the second rope down last.
Yep, and after I reach the bottom, I'll assist anybody, master coming down.
Okay. So, as each of you make your way down, following one by one, the little bits of the flame flickering give off a little bit of light, which isn't too much of a hindrance with most of you having dark vision. But with the torch down there, Justalin, you're able to also note the quite a bit of ice that lines the walls. With the light flickering off of them, each of you are quite quick to pick up that there seems to be engravings, writings, pictures, something behind most of these walls. There is also a door to the north, west, south, and the east. Then, each of you will begin to see the ropes moving just a bit. They seem to be rising slowly.
May tries to catch one and pulls it to stop it from.
Yeah, Adachi does the same thing to the rope.
As each of you grab it, can both of you give me a strength saving throw, please?
Good.
Dashi real good at these.
Lord.
No.
Jeez.
Adachi flailing quite a bit more, giving just a bit more of effort, while May and Adachi are lifted up off the ground roughly about 5 foot. As each of you look above, the natural light from the sun is slowly fading. You see the snow almost melding itself back together, eventually closing. May and Adachi, each of you lifted up of the ground just about 5 foot. At that point, it seems to cease. When the hole closes, the rope is no longer being pulled up.
Oh, relieved. May like drops down, cat-like. I hope. And she was like, "I was just worried our rope would disappear."
Then, with Crix, I imagine you actually asking that question.
Yeah.
Uh,
Adachi, you said there was no magic.
Adachi,
Do I sense?
you didn't
Magic.
sense any magic, but with the hole beginning to close, you get multiple schools of magic beginning to emit as these torches begin to light in the room, each of them perched up upon a column, giving quite the vast of light. You sense conjuration, illumination, and also conjuration, illumination, and also adjuration. You can also feel that there's other schools of magic here as well, but there's almost as if there's too many to count, but just some are beyond your knowledge.
Yeah, I think maybe Adachi falls off the rope a little bit on his. Just kind of like grabs his head. He's like, "Oh, yeah, there was no magic, and now there's just so much magic. I guess we triggered all the effects around the tomb."
It could have been dormant before, I guess.
And with the room being quite quiet, it almost sounds as if a gust of wind passes each of your ears as you hear a bit of a feminine voice. Why do you all come? Why are you here? Each of you also feel as if hands are perching upon each of your shoulders.
Adachi looks to Vera.
Everyone else heard that too, right?
Yeah, I heard it.
Yep, got the message.
Should we reply?
I was waiting on Virik as always.
When have I ever been good at talking? Come on, Creep Tilly.
So I yell out, "We are your descendants. We were sent here by our father, King Grimhearth."
what does he expect to achieve by sending his children here?
We need your help. Blight is under threat.
Each of you hear a cackle echo out through the room, and this laughter, being quite loud, is almost ear-piercing. Then, with a bit of a catching of the breath, well, then prove it. Prove yourself to be worthy. Then each of you feel that grasp amongst each of your shoulders release. The room still well lit from the torches that are upon the columns, flickering, bouncing light from the icy walls.
Yep, I'll go ahead and knock my crossbow.
Our dead relatives are so judgy.
We're proving it yet again.
I'm gonna bang my Nuvi shield and say, well, second time's a charm.
Yeah, I'm gonna knock my bow and crack my neck and be like, all right, well, here we go. You guys know how this goes.
Adashi's gonna start gently firebolting the ice on the walls.
The ice will melt away, slowly but surely.
Are there any
Can I,
exits to this chamber? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
The doors to the north, south, east, and west.
Once the ice is melted, Adachi will investigate the what did you call them? Carvings, engravings.
Correct. Go ahead and roll me an investigation check, please. Perfect. With you melting away quite a bit of the ice, you're able to pick up that there is a story being told, starting along the south wall, wrapping around in a clockwise formation. You see pictures of bones, large creatures, and a cloud as well.
Cloud.
It's what it seems to be depicted.
Alright, I'm gonna check out whatever Adashi's doing over there.
Does the cloud look familiar at all? Like, can I roll an insight or something? Just trying to see if it relates to our green fog cloud.
You can roll an insight. I guess. Let me look up what a wall's deception is. Hold on.
Or like I don't know, like an intelligence check or something.
Yeah, I think an intelligence check is
Okay.
a little bit wiser.
Fine, keep your secrets, wall.
I mean, it could. You don't see any resemblance. And with this story being depicted, it seems that these creatures are using the bones to make a cloud. Whether it's for other ideas come to mind besides being related to the green fog, perhaps maybe to water crops, maybe more symbolizing some ancient practices for changing weather, snowing, perhaps of that sort.
Okay, so it's a large creature, like giantish, creature, like humanoid creature. It has a big bone and it's making clouds
Correct.
with the bone. Okay. Yeah, I guess Dashi would just explain to his siblings and say it's like so there's this large man and woman. He's like pointing over here, and I think it's saying that they use these bones to create clouds. I haven't heard anything like this in Ohan's record.
That sounds pretty interesting, brother.
Not sure how it relates to our family. Maybe this is some ancient site we just decided to steal and use as a tomb.
Maybe our aunt was a necromancer.
Or some type of weather guide.
I mean, hey, we're trying to get rid of a big cloud. This has something to do with clouds. Maybe we picked the right tomb.
If we're lucky, that'll be true.
Maybe there are more of these?
As each of you are having this discussion, first the torch that Crix threw down goes out, and then the sconces and torches that are along the columns go out as well. Just Stalin, can you give me a perception check at disadvantage, and the rest of you a regular perception check, please?
Sweet.
And who are we waiting on? Cryptilli. Nice. Just Stalin, Crix, Adashi, and Cryptilli. As the lights from the torches and sconces go out, everything goes dark. Very dark. With the others not being able to see much looking about the room, the four of you notice bits of red glows that appear from the corners of the room. Adashi, Cryptilli, each of you notice that these red glows, to not just be any kind of red glows, they are coming from 4 sets of these reddish, beetish eyes. As your sight comes to a bit more of a clear head, or a clear view, if you will, Adashi and Cryptilli, you'll also notice that these eyes are moving just a bit. The glow illuminating bits of this stone, grayish statue, pulling itself from the corners of the room. A claw, a leg attached to a talon, and a wing pull itself before cracking. The rest of you hear stones falling upon the surface of this area. Then, each of you hear a batter of wings as these red beads make their way towards you.
Can I use the sword to cast dancing lights so we can see what's going on?
Sure.
We also have dark vision.
Just Stalin doesn't, though.
Yeah, he's a human.
Gotta help the halfie out.
Half human.
He's a half
Human.
elf.
Only partial.
He's our half brother.
He's got some good blood in him.
He's got great blood in him, not just
On both
our-
sides, I have good
Yeah.
blood.
Yeah.
Best of
With
both worlds.
Vieric grabbing the hilt of the sword, and these globules of light beginning to extend around the room, giving it a bit more of illumination. Just Stalin and the others, each of you are able to depict and see these creatures a bit clearer. With the lights produced from the sword, each of you will note that these almost perfectly polished stone statues representing that of demons, fangs extending from their upper and lower jaws, wings that are roughly 5 foot in a span, are each swooping towards you.
How close are they together?
They are in each of the corners of the room. So there are, and there's, roughly 10 to 20 foot in between them. But because I know how long this is going to take, that'll actually be the end of our session tonight. Is this combat should take a bit of time.
Agreed. Boo.
So,
This is real.
next week, if everyone's available, we'll hopefully be able to knock out these tombs without a break is usually my hope. I don't really like to have a week off because then some details might be forgotten. So, hopefully we can continue next week and then ride out and finish this area.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
But I hope each of you enjoyed tonight. Does anyone have anything they'd like to share before we get out of here?
I added some like Elder Scrolls imagery to our notes just for fun.
Nice.
Some tomb images.
Nice.
Dope.
I just needed someone other than just Stalin to see it.
But your artwork or your creativity, I should say. But all right, I'll go ahead and sign us out of here, and see you all next week.
Bye. Thanks for watching.
Later.
See you guys.
Bye, y'all.
Bye.